All right, guys, thanks for being here. Happy Saturday. I'm here with LaShayla or Shay Kerns, right?
Yeah.
Last name, cool. And Quentin Lanham, and we're gonna go through kind of what you guys have been doing to, like what Quentin and you have been doing to help get you from basically zero to what was your biggest month so far?
It was last month. It was 47K.
Okay, and that was your second month of business or your first full month?
The second month.
Okay, cool. And no sales experience, no insurance experience or anything prior to that. Cool. So we're gonna talk about how you went from zero to selling 47,000 your first month, and then what you guys are doing to work, kind of together to build a business. So, but I'm glad you guys are here. It's been really cool to watch you guys, grow and start to figure things out. And I love always seeing new people come on. We were talking like you bought your first new car yesterday, right?
I did.
That's always exciting to see people like be able to change their lives and put themselves in a better financial situation. But why don't you start with what were you doing before you started in insurance, and how did you find Family First Life?
Yeah, so I was working at the UPS store before. I met Quentin. I met Quentin on Facebook dating.
Nice.
Yeah, we ended up going on a date. We went to this like Mexican food place, and then ended up going back to his house, and he basically turned into a job interview. And yeah, so he recruited me, told me that I needed to quit my job. So I was like, sold.
Right away, you were in.
Yep, sold.
Got it. Quentin, do you only use dating apps to try to get people to work with you, or?
That's one of the many things I use.
Got it. So just out of curiosity, is it just because you're always thinking about the business, or were you looking for, like, if you wanted to be dating someone or hang out with someone, that you wanted to be in business with you, or what was the thought process like?
When I originally met her, I just kind of seen that she was meant for more.
Mm-hmm.
She had been in a pretty toxic relationship prior, and I was like, asked her like what she likes to do, and she just didn't really have any morals or values like set to become the person that she wanted to be. Mm-hmm. But I asked her, one of the things I asked her before I told her about the opportunity, I'm like, hey Shay, what do you want to do? Like, what makes you, what drives you? What do you want to become in this life? And she said, I know I'm meant for more. I just don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
And then I told her, honestly, Zach, that I could offer a lot more than just meaningless hookup.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good pitch. I like it. I remember, I remember Alex Hormozy on his channel shared like the first date they went on with his girlfriend or his wife now, like they went to ice cream and he was like pitching her to come work with them basically. It's kind of the same thing that happened here, which is cool. So were you in right away? Did it make sense to you? Were you skeptical, or like what were you thinking when you first heard about what we do and how everything worked?
Well, it definitely seemed too good to be true. Quentin had showed me his total AP for that last year that he had issued, and I was like what? There's no way. Mm-hmm. And so I told him that I would think about it, and I ended up going out that night and got a little too drunk. And yeah, so he was supposed to come pick me up on Monday morning, and I actually, texted him and I was like, hey, I am really hungover. Like, I really do not feel well right now. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to come in and, actually like be able to have my mind be right to be able to learn this.
Yeah.
So can we start tomorrow, basically is what I said. And he said, I did everything that I said I would. Like, this is up to you from now on. Like, you make up your decision, basically. Mm-hmm. And right then I was just like, you know what? This is the decision that's going to change my life. And I knew that it was going to be. So I was like, yeah, you can come pick me up. Yeah. And that's what I told him. And that was the decision that literally changed my life.
So then the first month in business, you went from no sales experience at all to selling like $50,000, just shy of $50,000. So you never bought leads before, and did you start buying leads right away, or you worked some old leads for a little bit, or how did that work?
I worked some old leads. I was dialing behind Quentin for a little bit, and then finally got enough money to be able to like buy my own leads. So
what was it like buying, because you worked at UPS before, it's not like you were working another entrepreneur job. What was it like to be able to buy leads for the first time?
It was insane. Even having like 10K in my account, that was crazy to me. I remember I did like a tax return with like my little brothers because I had to claim them as dependents at one point because my mom's kind of like, she doesn't have a job. So I had to claim them, and getting like 10K deposited into my account at that point was just like crazy to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I had never seen that money before. And now working in this business, it's just like insane. Like, yeah. And it's still surreal to me to this day, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the few places where anyone, regardless of their background, can have the same level of success, because it doesn't require you to have like an MBA or anything crazy like that. It just requires you to work hard and to learn from the right people. Right?
Absolutely.
Quinn, what are a few of the things when you're recruiting people you're looking for in them to make sure that they'll be a good fit, working with you?
Yeah, totally. So what I'm looking for, Zach, is I'm looking for somebody who's wanting to work, really nonstop. A mindset, taking that 9 to 5 mindset and just like taking it out of the equation. Somebody who's willing to put in long hours to accomplish what they want in their life. So more of like a full-time position, somebody who's willing to sacrifice a lot, because I don't want to build in quantity. I want to build in quality. That's my goal.
And then when you're, helping someone like Shay get started and learn how to sell, like what are some things you did? Was it you selling and she was listening to you, or what are some things you did to help her? She's doing the work now and she figured it out, but in the beginning you spent a lot of time teaching her how to sell. So what did that process look like for you guys?
So first things first is I was always having them read their scripts, the rebuttals, just kind of the common sense stuff. And then I would kind of tell them that, hey, especially with like vets and with over the phone sales, it's more of a transactional purpose. It's not necessarily just all personability, because you can be, super friendly with somebody and then they are okay with telling you no, versus if you're transactional about the matter, like, hey, I'm here to help you, this is what we need to do, and be more like the authority figure, you're going to get a lot better results. And in the beginning she did have a problem with that, but as soon as like, hey Shay, like all you got to do is just plug and play, call the phones, just run through the script and tell them kind of what to do, she started making 3-4 sales a day.
Yeah. And Shay, for you, did it help? Like when he's saying I've noticed when people tell you something, it is sort of helpful, but when they show you actually like how it works when they do it, it's more helpful because you believe them.
Yeah.
And I think it also helps, like if you hear a client tell him no or me no, you're like, oh, okay, this is normal. Mm-hmm. So was it more helpful him like telling you the scripts or like listening to him sell, or kind of a combination of both?
Honestly, probably listening to him sell was the biggest thing for me, because I was like, wow, like if he can do it, I can do it for sure. I mean, he's an incredible seller. It's crazy to me. Whenever I first saw him sell, like I was like, wow, like he knows how to talk to people. That's insane. And then finally I got to the point where like I'm almost at his level. Probably not yet, but I'll get there.
What are some tips you have for new people like learning how to sell? Like what are a few things that you think on the phone that allows you to have the level of success you're having your first month?
Stay completely calm when you're talking to clients. Don't, they smell fear in your voice if you're talking to them, and like, you just be real, basically.
Yeah.
Don't act like it's, your life on the line if you're not going to make that sale. Just sit there and act like you're an employee that works a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah. Give a couple examples of like what that sounds like on the phone. Like I'm sure you sold 5,000 today, right? So you've had some clients you've talked to that have given you a hard time, you've pushed through. Like what are some of those, like those interactions sound like with the clients?
Yeah. So, well, I guess like if John's on the other side of the phone and he's like, I'm like talking to him, I'm like, hey John. And he's like, hi. I'm like, this is Shay with the VA. How are you doing today? He's like, I'm doing great. I'm like, okay. Well, the reason for my quick call today, John, is I was just getting back to you regarding the request that you filled out for the final expense and life options for veterans. I'm sure you remember that. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, yeah. Like I'm just very monotone, very calm every time that I'm talking to them. I do say a couple things, like some keywords. Like whenever I ask them if they're a junior or senior, I say, oh, so you're the one and only John? Like I just like say like, small things that just like build up. They're like, oh yeah, I'm the one and only John, you know? So I know like I put my humor into it as well. Like I'm not just like completely monotone and just like, like a robot, but a little bit of monotone, a little bit of like humor at the same time really works.
Yeah. And I think it's, like you said, it's important to be yourself, right? Because if you tried to act like someone else, like if you tried to do the exact same thing that Q does, it wouldn't come across the right way. Or if you try to do the exact same thing that other people who train, or if you try to act like me, it wouldn't work because we're all different people, right?
Absolutely.
So you kind of infuse your own humor into the script.
Yeah, absolutely.
Q, what are a few things you've noticed about like being able to stay consistent and like running a good, good schedule where you're making enough phone calls throughout the day, where you're not getting, frustrated that like sometimes it takes a while to get going in business, or it takes a while to get to that first sale. Like what's some advice you have for people to making, the hundreds of dials that are required a day, or talking to so many people to recruit a few people? Because it takes a lot of activity to get the result you want to get to.
Yeah, perfect. So what I usually do is, I schedule my day out. What I do, I wake up, I hit the gym to kind of get my mind right for dialing. And then once I've done that, I kind of set out, okay, I'm going to make this many dials or this many sales per day. And then I really don't stop until I hit the quota. So I don't really have like a breakdown necessarily of what I do to make my money. It's more in the fact of my activity is, all the time. And then once I'm doing that nonstop, it just comes. The money just always comes.
What's the activity metrics that you set for yourself?
60 to 80 dials per hour. So that's, if anyone doesn't know that, that's going to be 3 times per one client. So that's going to be, 180 dials within an hour time frame.
Got it.
And we're able to hit mile markers for sure.
Got it. So you're counting like every 3 dials, or each client as 1 dial basically, because you're doing it back to back to back.
Yep.
Got it.
And then we'll do 25 leads. And then once you get to the bottom of the 25 lead set, then you go straight back up. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, especially with the leads we're running, that's very, very profitable because you get a lot more answer ratio.
And then what type of leads are you running, and like why do you like running them?
Yeah, so we run Ronnie's veterans leads, and the reason I like running them personally is because, especially for what we're doing, mm-hmm. we're building more of kind of like a 24-hour type of schedule. So you're always working, always dialing, and so you're always having new people to talk to, and everybody knows that that's the only thing that makes you sales in this business is talking to people.
Yeah,
that's why I like them.
Absolutely. What are you spending? Or let's go to Shay's. What are you spending per week on leads? Like, what is your weekly lead spend, and how many leads does that give you?
Anywhere from like 1,400 to 2K. I kind of scaled back down to 1,400 because I realized 2K was just like I would have them for a week and then I would have to like go back and like not have leads the next week, or like not buy leads and then just like go back to the leads that I had before, because I was having so many come in like a day that it was just like,
you weren't getting to them?
Yeah, I wasn't getting to them in time. So I had to go back to 14. That was like kind of my happy medium. With the 2K, I was getting about, I want to say like 50 leads a day. With the 14, I was getting about like 25-ish.
Yeah. What's your biggest advice to people who are like new? Because I think the biggest difference is for people that do really well versus people that like kind of up and down is, I think people that are good at selling and good in our industry just buy a lot of leads and then they're assumptive on the phone. But like when I was selling at a really high level, I was just taking the laydowns.
Right.
And I was just like, if they didn't want to buy, I was moving on. But I had so many leads. I was spending like $2,000 a week on leads. So I didn't care. I was like, I'm going to sell 15, no doubt, out of this 2,000. And
right.
It's going to be all the good people. So what's your advice to new people who are like scared to spend money on leads? Because I think if everyone could spend what you're spending and was willing to work the leads, they'd have, the same or similar level of success.
Right. So what I would definitely say is just be assumptive on the phone, like you just said, but also, when you're dialing your leads, make sure that you're making the best of them. Go down, like Quentin said, 25, go back up 25. A lot of the times you'll miss some people on the way down, but then you go back up and there's like 2 or 3 sales on the way back up because they're like, oh, they're dialing me, a 6th time. Obviously, they're going to be like, who the heck is calling me?
Yeah, within 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
you're like,
exactly.
6 times. Why did you decide to spend 1,400 in leads instead of like 300? Because that's the biggest. I think a lot of people go like, I'm going to spend 300 in leads. I'm going to slowly work up.
Yeah. 1,400, I guess, it gives you a good amount of leads for sure. Yeah. 300, I don't think it's enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But 1,400 is a big number for someone that was working at UPS 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dialing old leads with Quentin, it was just easy for me to make money, I guess, at that point. So then I just got the money, and you just have to take the risk. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
The biggest risks make the biggest rewards. So.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were like, well, I kind of would like to work a commission job that has a salary too. And I was like, hey, the people that take the salary jobs don't make a lot of money because they're not willing to take the risk.
Right.
But if you have any confidence in yourself, you should take the commission only job because that pays way more money if you're competent, or it pays zero money if you're not competent, right? I'm like, you could work somewhere else and get paid $30,000 a year and 5% commission and make $45,000 a year guaranteed. Or you can do something like this and there's no cap on your income, but there's no floor too, right?
Yeah.
So, Quentin, what are a few of the things that you talk to people about when you're recruiting them into the industry? Because I think a lot of people you talk to have either just started in life insurance or never been in life insurance before. Yeah.
So I kind of go with I would say a blunt approach. I talk to them and I just tell them, hey, this is what we do. It's not sexy, it's really not. But what we do is we help families and we make a lot of money and we have fun doing it. And what I tell them is I'm like, would you rather work 60 years, retire and have nothing set? Or would you rather go bust your ass for, 5-7 years and be able to kind of take a break if you really wanted to and be able to take that vacation and actually be able to afford it and not always have to play catch up? And so I talk to a lot of people like, what's their goals, what drives them, you know? And I feel like if they're younger, especially, I tell them, dude, just take the risk, bro. You have nothing to lose. At the end of the day, let's say this doesn't work out in here. You can still go back and work at Chipotle. You can still go work at UPS. You still have those options down the line, but you not taking the risk I think is complete like stupidity.
Yeah. And a lot of people that work those other jobs, like you guys both came from smaller towns, right? I grew up in a small town in Colorado, in Western Colorado. And I think a lot of people that grow up in areas like that, like there's not a lot of other opportunities out there. But there's sharp people that just end up doing things because that's like what other people in the town do. And I think that's why I've seen a lot of people, like Andrew Taylor came from a really small town in California, came from a small town in Colorado. You guys are from like, I think people that come from smaller areas, they're like, oh, like there's an opportunity. Like this is my way out and not having to take the normal traditional route, you know?
Yeah.
Because like where I grew up, it was like you could work on the oil fields, you could be like a teacher, or you could work in the hospital or some service industry, right? But outside of that, there's not really anything else to do unless you want to move to a big city, right?
Right.
Did that stand out to you when you first saw the opportunity? Because I think sometimes people from big cities are like, oh, there's so many options. So like for me, I was like, this is like the only thing I've seen where it doesn't require me to do 8 more years of school to make money.
Yep, that's 100% how I felt too, actually. You know, coming from a small town, like I'm from Casper, Wyoming. Yeah, there was definitely not very much to do there. Not very much to do for fun, not very much to do for jobs. It was just kind of just nothing. So, yeah.
And I think even like, you know, now I think Q's seeing this because he's recruiting a lot of people in Austin. Like now we're here and there's a lot of people that had like a lot of younger people that move here with promises of like really cool, like sexy jobs, like, oh, software sales or this sales or that sales. And they make no money, right? So you're like, hey, like, why don't you check this out? It's not as sexy as your software sales job, but you can actually make money doing it, right?
Exactly.
I noticed a lot of people you've been recruiting are people that worked in car sales. Like, why do you think that this stands out well for people that have done car sales previously?
Yeah, totally. So, actually, one of my good, actually starting to become one of my good friends. Just recruited him a couple weeks ago. His name's Geronimo, and he had told me that they took a huge cut and stuff with people getting paid, especially in any car sales position. So, you know, they're used to be making like $10,000-$12,000 a month. Now they're making $4,500, but they're getting commission fronted to them for $2,500 and have to pay it back. So in reality, they're, you know, only making 45, 50 grand that whole entire year, but they're, you know, making the dealerships millions of dollars. And so I feel like if you can bring logic into the equation and say, hey, if you do this, you know, it's not going to be as easy as, you know, talking to people in person sometimes, but at the end of the day, if you just get up and you get it done and you treat it like, you know, you have to get it done and there's no exception, you're going to make way more money and you're also going to be able to have a lot more freedom in the end.
Yeah. Shay, let's kind of wrap up with this for the last 3-4 minutes. So when you're going through, like you kind of went through how you do the intro of the call. Once you get through that intro and they're like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. How do you take the rest of the phone call to take them from, yes, I know who you are and I remember what I did, through like the sale? Like what does that next 5 minutes sound like?
So, I'll just do a quick like mock presentation.
Yeah.
So, hey John, this is Shay with the VA. How are you doing today?
Good.
Awesome. So the reason for my quick call today, John, is I was just getting back to you regarding the request that you filled out for the final expense and life options for veterans. I'm sure you remember that.
Yes, I do.
Awesome. So was your main concern when you filled this out, John, just wanting to make sure that your burial expenses were taken care of and they're not falling a burden on your family?
Oh yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And were you looking to leave a little extra behind if possible as well, or were you just looking to cover your burial?
I was sort of just looking to get a quote today.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I can do that for you, John. First of all, you know, how is your health looking? Do you have any heart attacks, strokes, cancers?
No, I'm in good health.
Okay, awesome. Healthy as a horse?
Healthy as a horse,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. So I guess my next question for you, John, is, you know, what branch were you in?
Army.
Awesome. And how long did you serve for?
Just 4 years.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your service. I do appreciate it. And if you were to pass away today, John, who would be the person that's taking care of everything for you tomorrow?
My daughter.
Okay, awesome. And how old is your daughter?
She's 25.
Perfect. And then what's her name?
Scarlett.
Okay, perfect. So Scarlett, you know, if you were to pass away today, John, would Scarlett be able to take care of your burial for you, or what kind of situation would that put Scarlett in?
She might be able to, but I wouldn't really want her to.
Okay, yeah, awesome. So that's why I'm here to help you out today, John. So, you know, are you retired, disabled, or are you still working?
Retired.
Okay, perfect. And if you had to just roughly guesstimate your monthly income, what would that be?
Like 3,000-ish.
Okay, awesome. And then after you've paid for everything for the month, like your gas, your food, you know, all the necessities for the month, what would you say you're left with to save at the end?
A couple $100, maybe
Okay.
200-300.
Okay, awesome. So we're probably looking for the cheapest option today.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
Yep.
awesome. So yeah, these plans are specifically designed for each person I talk to based on their health and their budget. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to kind of see what we can do for you. I work for over 30 A brand carriers, so I'll be able to kind of find you what the best option for you and your family is going to be here. So what I'm going to do right now, John, is I'm going to type your information into my system here. It's going to come back with, like I said, which one of the 30 A brand carriers is going to be best for you guys. So give me just a second here. And do you have a pen and a piece of paper handy?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to have you write down a couple things about these plans here, John. Just let me know when you're ready.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, awesome. So number one, I want you to write down immediate.
Okay.
Okay, so these plans are immediate coverage. So basically what that means is, you know, if you were to pass away tomorrow, God forbid you pass away tomorrow, they would pay out immediately to Scarlett.
Okay.
Okay. Number two, I want you to write down tax-free.
Okay.
Okay. So these plans are tax-free. What that means is, you know, government's not going to take any of your money out of it. You know, Uncle Sam's fingers can get pretty sticky sometimes. We all know that. So, and then number three, I want you to write down locked-in rate.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, these plans are completely locked in. So basically what that means is it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, they're at a locked-in rate. It's not going to go up on you based on your age or your health, and, you know, the price is never, or the coverage is never going to decrease on you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. So number four, this is actually my favorite part of these plans, living benefits. So number one, you know, with terminal illness, if you go to the doctor says, hey, you have 1 to 2 years to live, John. You're actually able to take 100% of that out of these plans to be able to help pay for, you know, your medical bills or whatever else you need to pay for during that time. Number two, critical illnesses as well. So heart attacks, strokes, cancers, you know, dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever have you.
Yep.
And then chronic illnesses as well. So if you have to have a nursing aide come to your house and help you around with 2 out of your 6 daily living activities, you can actually have that paid for with the plan as well,
Perfect.
which is really nice. And then, you know, last but not least, of course, making sure that Scarlett's protected when you pass away, which I'm sure was your main concern when you filled this out.
Yep.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do right now, John, is I'm going to type your information into my system here, like I said before. It's going to come up with 3 separate plans. It's going to come up with a gold plan, a silver plan, and a bronze plan. So I want you to write down gold, silver, and then bronze, okay?
All right.
Okay, awesome. So I just typed this up here, John. It looks like what the carriers are willing to do for you is going to be $15,000 for the gold plan. So I want you to write down $15,000.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and then it looks like what they were able to do as well is put the accidental death benefit in there for you as well. So instead of $15,000, it would be $30,000 if you were to pass away in an accident. So any accidental situation, you know, you get hit by a drunk driver on the road, you fall down and hit your noggin or something, it's $30,000.
Cool.
Awesome. And then it looks like what they were willing to do for you, John, is $150 after the discount. So I want you to write down $150.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're going to go down to the silver plan. That's going to be for $10,000.
All right.
Okay, awesome. So this is going to have that double, obviously, for the $20,000. It's pretty easy math. Okay, and then it looks like this one, what they're willing to do for you after the discount is going to be $100.
Okay.
I want you to write that down. You got all that written down?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So the last one, you know, last and least, we're going to go down to the bronze plan. This is going to be for $5,000. And then this has the double, obviously, for the $10,000. Okay, and then this is going to be $50 after the discount.
Okay.
Which I'm sure you're okay with.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, very assumptive at the end.
Yep.
Yeah. We know you can at least afford the bottom one.
Yep, absolutely. Now, which one of those plans, John, do you think is going to be a better, you know, most beneficial for you to leave behind for Scarlett?
I think I could probably do the middle one.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. Is that comfortable for you every week? You know, like every month, like rain, hail, sleet, snow, birthdays come around, Christmas.
Yeah, that should be good.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm going to do right now is
What if someone goes like, hey, let me think about it for a minute?
Okay, so, you know,